Now, if you couldn't tell from all the news and all the strange things going on out here in America, that we, the people, are in the trenches right now, you should have been able to tell when you saw these people drinking a water, chicken, and Crystal Light smoothie. Lord have mercy. Hey y'all, it's your captain for all things creative coming at you with the Love is Blind Season 9, Episode 7 through 9 review. So if you're new to this channel, welcome. Please like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. And if you're returning, thank you so much for rocking with us. We are into the second batch, I guess, of Love is Blind Season 9 episode drops. So I'm going to do all of the new episodes kind of like in chronological order. The first set of episodes, I kind of did it by couple ranking because a lot of them pod peoples you don't really see again, so I decided to organize it by the most important and least problematic couples. So this time I'm gonna go a little bit more chronologically, but still focus more on the less problematic couples. But it was a lot to get into, so let us start with episode 7 and Sparkle, Megan, and Jordan. Alright, so episode 7 starts off with the continuation of Madison and Joe's altercation, if you'll call it that. But at the end of the day, Joe is not interested in Madison. And as much as I definitely feel like Joe was dabbling in substances besides alcohol or amounts of alcohol that he shouldn't have been to that extent at the party, the way that Madison was reacting and overreacting definitely suggests that the issue wasn't the issue. Like, I'm sure she's seen drunk people before and tired people before, but the main problem that she had was just being embarrassed, and she finally let it out after, crying dramatically on the porch that, the whole situation is embarrassing to her, the way Joe is acting and the way it's kind of unconsciously coming across that Joe doesn't like Madison because as much as he's trying to reassure her, his actions and his body language is speaking louder than words. Even the fact that she was crying and he was like, "No, I'm not getting out of this bed," and he refused to get out the bed for her, but got out the bed for food when he was deciding that he might be hungry. There wasn't even a promise of food. He got up wondering if there was food, so he definitely shows in a lot of ways that he's not that into her. And Madison has a way of also throwing kind of like hissy fits, if you will. And when she's talking to Joe, it's like she kind of like alternates between like crying and fake crying and being aggressive, which we see a lot in this drop with her, and then also Annie a little bit. So I definitely feel like she is trying to manipulate Joe into having deeper feelings. But the way Joe acts, and especially how he kind of laughs in her face when she acts like this, to me, it's kind of like he's saying, "Well, I already don't like you. And if you think this is going to make me like you, you're sadly mistaken." And he is really playing in her face in a lot of ways, but trying in a sense that I guess he's exploring the physical intimacy by sleeping with her, but at the end of the day, he does not like that girl. Now, a better couple that had a way more productive talk, episode 7, was Sparkle, Megan, and Jordan. From the party, she also was annoyed at Jordan because he and Joe were acting like, goofy kind of guys together. And you see that again in episode 9, when they meet up with all the people in the pods. But for now, Sparkle Megan just tells him, "Listen, I need you to focus on me more because it's kind of revealed that she does have anxieties about being a stepmom," which I knew she would because it's very complicated, joining into a family that's already established and navigating how to respect, you know, Luca's mom and his own wishes for his child. And Jordan took the reins in a very good way by basically telling her, listen, we just want to raise Luca as not being materialistic and just spend quality time instead of trying to buy affection, because Megan was definitely talking about how she wanted to buy Luca things. And, Jordan tells her, like, kids want love, and a dollar store gift will mean just as much as $100 Lego, just as long as the love and the care and the attention that you spend with the child is not, replaced by material things. So he gave her a great talk. Um, Seeing the apartments now. So basically, after those two main scenes in Mexico, all the couples come back to America. They tell their families, that they're all engaged and whatnot. And we see their apartments and just continue on with Megan and Jordan. I definitely did not expect Megan to react that well to Jordan's apartment, because she was already throwing shade about, okay, how does it work that, you have a son and yourself and it's a one bedroom? And then the way we see that Jordan set it up is that he gave Luca the bedroom exclusively, and he turned the living room to like a studio apartment. But I took pause a little bit with how the bed was in front of the TV in like the living area. It made me feel more like he's setting up to like Netflix and chill. Between the vasectomy and the bed being where a couch should be, or not having like a convertible type bed, because I've seen beds that are like futons, when you raise the back and then you can put them to rest back down. Just like walking into a apartment like that, it would just give me the vibes that, oh, this person likes to Netflix and chill kind of. But still, he did it in a way that worked for him and Luca, and it's selfless that he gave him the bedroom. So I'm not knocking him too much, but definitely the bed where the couch should be, it definitely made me think that Jordan was promiscuous again. And last thing with this couple and all the other couples is, besides seeing apartments in episode 7 and episode 8, they also like meet each other's families. And I thought the family meeting between, Jordan and Megan's mom and sister especially was really heartwarming. And it seems like Sparkle Megan's family also believes that their dad on the other side is guiding Megan to be with Jordan, and basically saying that, Luca was the sign because he has diabetes and dad has diabetes too. And I'm low key starting to believe the hype too, because the sister's dream, especially about the dad saying that, she wanted, I guess, sorry, he wanted Megan to know for sure that the man was for her if his son was exactly like him. It just seems too much like fate, and I'm into dreams, so I'm starting to buy the hype. You could call me a Sparkle Megan and Jordan fan officially. Now, the last honeymoon scene, I guess, that we didn't talk about before would be Annie and Nick, and they had a terrible fight. Um, Basically, Annie was being nasty to Nick, basically saying that she don't need him. She kept saying it over and over again. And I just thought it was funny because Nick was fine with him and Annie being mean and cackling about how being gay is a fad together. But when Annie turned her mean and nasty streak on him, he looked like he was shocked. I was like, "Oh, it's no fun when the rabbit has to cut, huh?" Because now that Annie's dark sidedness is turned on you, you don't like it. So it definitely looked like Nick did not, see this side of Annie, even though he should have. But again, they were being mean together. But now that more time has passed, he definitely, told her, like, hey, I don't like you putting words in my mouth, this and that. And when they go to visit his house, he actually called himself a size queen in front of Annie, and it just like went straight over her head. And if you don't believe me, this is the scene.
That's the ice boat.
Yeah, and the sail is up there, and you can sail across the lake with it in the winter, which is so
Where
cool.
are they?
It's my...
Wait, it's huge.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm a size queen. I'm a big sail.
Same.
Now, the most interesting family meeting of all would be the meeting with Edmund's mom and KB and Edmund. Now, I thought it was interesting that Edmund's mom, I guess, found KB's Instagram and judged her off of it. But at the end of the day, this episode drop made me continue to side-eye KB. Like, I respect her, and I feel like what she was trying to do was show, how open-minded and serious and, I guess, professional she could be about, the contract she signed with Netflix and the experiment. But at the end of the day, she just comes across as having a mask on, and just the fact that she's acting like she don't see Edmund tweaking. Like, Edmund literally tried to climb into a cabinet and he was like licking cups. Like, he was doing a lot as usual, and KB for the most part, was acting like she was accepting it. But you see by, when they get to the party, her mask slips and she just like had enough. So I just wish KB came on being herself instead of wearing the mask and then shifting to, I guess, the social worker role with Edmund. And again, Edmund's mom didn't like KB from the Instagram, her intuition. But meeting KB and because KB is such a smooth talker, and I guess maybe she used some of her social work skills on the mom, but like, she definitely caused the mom to feel bad about judging KB. But at the end of the day, I think the mom's gut instinct was right. I don't think KB and Edmund relationship is going anywhere. Also, the mom had a very interesting take on how she raised Edmund. She kept saying, she poured a lot into Edmund, and there are, stories from Edmund, that he's been in and out of foster care, and he had to work to forgive his parents. And it's very hard to say because there are many studies and history has shown that, especially when it comes to the way foster care and like social work has been done concerning children and families and neglect in particular, a lot of the symptoms of poverty have been conflated with the symptoms of neglect. And there are a lot of assumptions for a long time that, it was mainly the poor that, are doing bad things to children. And it took doctors, like the medical community, to turn that around and prove that actually wealthy people, sometimes don't treat kids well either. And it's somewhat of a hard thing when you know that this mother probably does love all of her children, and she expressed that during the show. And even according to Edmund's story, there were times she would gain custody back, but then times she would lose custody. And part of it could be because of poverty and struggling, but Edmund claims that a lot of it was because of drugs. So again, I don't doubt that Edmund's mom, loved him and all the kids. I do think, though, that by her own admission, she said Edmund has like a lockbox and he doesn't let her into that lockbox. There's a lot of things she cannot talk to him about. But she says that she feels like Edmund feels like KB is a safe person to open up his lockbox to. So by her own admission, she knows she has behaved in ways that makes Edmund not trust her. But again, she insists that she still loved Edmund and poured into him. So I think, there's three sides to every story. There's Edmund's side, there's the mom's side, and there's the truth that's somewhere in the middle. I think she probably did try to, raise Edmund and impart wisdom as best as she could. And you see she's like very connected to Ghana and like, I guess, beads, like the spirituality and those types of things. So that scene really made me, think deeply about all that Edmund has been doing and what Edmund needs, because, again, he has acted strangely in a lot of the scenes, but with his mother, you could tell he was trying his best, to be his best self, and he appeared the most normal and the most regulated, the scene with his mom. So I think, again, he's really trying to turn over a new leaf. I think that's part of his desire to have a new family, to do the family thing right. But unfortunately, I think in KB's mind, she doesn't see him as a partner anymore, but she sees him as like a client or a child. Because like when we get to that party, I was on Edmund's side because he's sitting there trying to joke with his homeboys, and he makes a comment when I guess Annie says that not I said the man in the closet. What's his name? Nick, I think. Yeah, and he says that Nick is perfect, and Edmund is like, no, that's not true. Nobody's perfect. But I wish I could hear that, or that would be nice to hear something like that. Like he makes like a little flippant comment, making conversation, and KB hovering all up in the Kool-Aid, don't know the flavor, comes in and just again treats Edmund like a child or a client. It's like, hey, are you comparing yourself to others again? Like, are you using the tools that I gave you in session, or I mean in bed yesterday? Kind of like vibe, kind of like policing how he's speaking, like an overseer checking to see if he's following her program or not. And I was just like, I did not like that scene at all. And Edmund, he visibly shuts down. He's kind of resigned, but when they, progress with the conversation, let's try to make progress in the conversation, KB gets very nasty with him. And I think she's fed up. To be fair to her, she's been very patient with Edmund, but I think it's been in a fake or performative way she had patience for him, and now the mask has slipped. I don't know if she had too much to drink or what, but she called Edmund names kind of in the bathroom, kind of like in front of the girls. I don't think she remembered her mic was on. Again, her mask was slipping, so I think she was tired of performing, and then when she went to the bathroom, she really let, her feelings about him show. And Edmund tried to de-escalate and be like, oh, I love you. But he did tell her, like, actually, I don't be hearing a lot of nice words from you. And I just feel really bad for Edmund because I don't think Clebra's going to say yes. And even in the preview, she says something cryptic talking about, the truth is going to come out at the altar. So again, I feel like she's been wearing a mask. She's been performing like, the perfect open-minded fiance. But nobody's perfect. She should have just told Edmund how she really felt in all the little moments he was tweaking. Or at least, did like Anna or Blake and removed herself from the process when she saw that the relationship wasn't going to work out. But sorry to Edmund because, yeah, this is rough. So fully into episode 9, I'm Team Edmund. And when it comes to Anna versus Patrick, I was Team Anna. I'm glad she stood on business with Patrick and just basically said that, he didn't seem like he was the most sincere by proposing to another girl if he was so in love with her. And Patrick actually made a TikTok kind of rubbing it in Casey's face, I guess, that she was the second choice. And he said it loud and clear during the episode that she was a far distant second choice. So I think Patrick was trying to get his little self esteem back. But at the end of the day, it kind of made it look like he kind of deserved that, and he got, because he didn't really care about Casey. He was too weak about Anna. Okay, so there wasn't that much that happened at the party. That was great. And the KB and Edmund fight was probably the highlight, but some other things that happened at the party, Allie tells the girls about, Anton a little bit and how he be going to like strip clubs. In that family meeting, I didn't really count that as a family meeting because I guess they met each other's friends. But Anton's friends, girlfriend, snitches on Anton that he likes to go to strip clubs and he likes the nightlife. So now we see the cracks in their relationship, basically. Allie is now wondering if he's the kind of guy that's going to be dipping it and doing it, laying it wide and spread it low down to the strip club. And she's made it clear that she wants to go back to school and she expects him to pick up the load at the house and, maybe hire a chef and like basically make her a kept woman in a way. And I think if they don't make it, both of them might say no. Anton seems like he does like really like her and is attracted to her, but the wanting to be a kept woman kind of stuff might not be rubbing him the right way. He might not be as vocal about it as he needs to be. And if Allie says no, it's because that friend got in her head about, him being a strip club regular. Now, who else needs to be talked about at the party was Joe, and especially Joe and Kate. I think Joe in his head thinks he's like a stand-up comedian, but he can't really string sentences together, so it looks like he's just judgy and drunk all the time. And like, especially at this party, he gets drunk again. And he's making fun of Nick. And I don't see it for Nick in terms of his lies, but I did feel like Nick was coming across like a mean bully. And I also think Kate was bitter and also contributing to the bullying of Nick. I think Kate has a right to be upset with Nick for, breaking up with her, but just the fact that she was going to Annie and saying mean girl stuff like, oh, nobody likes Nick. None of the guys think he's genuine. It was definitely giving sour grapes because she had liked Nick, and if she had a broken heart, she wanted to clear it up with Nick. That's fine. That's between her and Nick. But just the fact that she was tearing him down to Annie like that definitely rubbed me the wrong way. So even though I don't see it for Nick for his lies, I did not like how Joe and Kate and, even Jonathan to some extent, is it Jonathan? Sorry, Jordan to some extent, seemed like they were being mean about Nick. And I don't think, again, that Joe likes Madison. Because, again, at the party, he got drunk again willingly. And he was like, I'm about to do the same thing I got in trouble for last time. And if he wanted to show he respected her, he would make sure not to get as drunk. But he literally admitted out loud that, yeah, he's just doing the same thing she didn't like before. So, again, he don't like that girl that keeps coming out in different ways. Okay, so at the end of the day, Sparkle, Megan, and Jordan might be the only couple that makes it down the aisle. I wondered if Sparkle Megan was going to waver when she saw Mike. Because remember in the pods, they had a really strong connection. And if anybody was financing on Sparkle Megan's level, it would have been Mike. And Jordan did look nervous when he saw, Megan and Mike talking. But he don't have nothing to worry about because, again, allegedly, according to the streets, Mike is a scammer who don't pay people, allegedly. So he owes a lot of money. So as long as Jordan doesn't owe money, he might be the better financial person. At least in terms of like morals and like paying people and things like that. But Megan had a good gut feeling to choose Jordan over Mike, and she showed that she did not waver at all. She did not lose faith. And I felt bad for Mike because Nick definitely put that battery in his back to go up there confidently by telling him how, Megan was going to need her EpiPen, when she saw him, and making him feel like he's just like the hottest guy in the world. He's hot in Nick's eyes, but Megan definitely was not tempted in the least. She didn't look like she had a second thought. And when Mike even asked her if, she felt she made a mistake, she was like, no, absolutely not. And it was just so, I think, reassuring to Jordan that, she did not lose faith. And I think these two had a really good showing in this newest batch of episodes. They're definitely down for one another. I think they might be the only couple that makes it. But really, I guess in the larger scheme of things, there's no situation that's perfect. Even if you look at their situation, she listened to her gut feeling about what was best for her, and I pray that y'all also take a chance to, sit with yourself, listen to your gut, listen to your higher power. Think about what's right, especially during these times. Think about what's right for you and your family, and do not lose hope. Do not bury your head in the sand. And most of all, remember you're the master of your fate and the captain of your soul. So say how you feel about like the episodes or the stuff I said in the video. And remember to like, share, and subscribe. And we'll check in again for the next batch of episodes. Bye.